Mafia boss was stepping out of his car when something small tapped his hand. Not a gun, not a knife, a crumpled $5 bill. He looked down. A little girl stood in front of him, hair messy, shoes worn thin, both hands shaking as she held the money up like it was everything she owned. "Please," she said quietly. "This is all I have." His men moved instantly, too close, too fast. But he raised his hand, stopping them. No one paid him $5. People paid him in fear. He crouched down, eye level with her. "What do you want, kid?" She swallowed hard, forcing the words out. "I want you to help me," she said, "because the police won't." That made him pause. She leaned closer, voice trembling. "They said if I told anyone, my mom wouldn't come home." That's when he noticed her knuckles, bruised, her sleeve torn, and the way she kept glancing over her shoulder. The Mafia boss slowly took the $5, not because he needed it, but because whatever she was about to ask was worth far more than money. "Stay with me until the end," because what this little girl asked next shocked even a man who thought he'd seen every kind of evil. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Now, let's get started. Vincent Torino had been running the East Side for 15 years. He'd built his reputation on two things: keeping his word and making problems disappear. His territory stretched from the docks to downtown, and everyone knew the rules. You paid on time, you stayed quiet, and you never brought children into business. That Tuesday evening started like any other. Vincent was leaving his restaurant, Bella Vista, after settling accounts with the local shop owners. Protection money, loan payments, the usual collections that kept his operation running smooth. His black Cadillac waited at the curb, engine purring, while Tony and Marco flanked the entrance like human shields. The neighborhood knew this routine. When Vincent emerged at 8:30 sharp, people found somewhere else to be. Store owners locked their doors. Mothers called their kids inside, and the smart ones crossed the street before he even noticed them. But this little girl didn't cross the street. She didn't run. She walked straight toward him with that crumpled bill clutched in her tiny fist. Vincent had seen desperate people before. Grown men who owed money they couldn't pay. Business owners behind on protection fees. Gamblers who'd bet their last dollar on the wrong horse. Desperation had a smell, a look, a way of making people do stupid things. This was different. This child wasn't desperate in the way adults get desperate. She was methodical, determined, like she'd rehearsed this moment 100 times in her head. Her clothes were clean but old, patched in places where they'd torn. Her sneakers had holes near the toes. But her eyes held something Vincent rarely saw anymore. Pure, unwavering hope. "What's your name?" he asked, still crouched at her level. His men shifted nervously behind him, hands instinctively moving toward their jackets. They'd never seen their boss take this much time with anyone, let alone a kid. "Sophie," she whispered. "Sophie Martinez. Sophie Martinez," Vincent repeated slowly. "How old are you, Sophie?" "7. Her voice got smaller with each answer, but she didn't back away. "Almost 8. Vincent glanced at Tony, who gave an almost imperceptible shrug. In their world, children meant complications. Children meant witnesses, questions, heat from law enforcement that nobody wanted. Smart criminals avoided kids entirely. "Where are your parents, Sophie?" Vincent asked gently. That's when the tears started. Not the dramatic sobbing you'd expect from a scared child, but quiet tears that rolled down her cheeks while she fought to keep talking. "My mom's gone," she said. "They took her 3 days ago." Vincent felt something cold settle in his stomach. "Who took her?" Sophie looked over her shoulder again, scanning the empty street like she expected someone to jump out of the shadows. "The bad men. They said she owed them money, but she doesn't have any money. We don't have any money except this." She held up the $5 bill again, and Vincent could see it was worn soft from being folded and unfolded countless times. Probably her lunch money for the week, maybe longer. These bad men, Vincent said carefully. What did they look like? Sophie wiped her nose with the back of her hand. Big. Scary. One had a tattoo on his neck that looked like a snake. Another one had gold teeth. They drove a white van with no windows in the back. Vincent's jaw tightened. He knew exactly who she was describing. The Kozlov brothers had been moving into his territory for months, pushing drugs, running protection rackets, generally making life difficult for everyone. But taking someone's mother was a new low, even for them. Sophie, where's your dad? Vincent asked. He died last year. Car accident. She said it matter-of-factly, like she'd practiced explaining this to adults who always asked uncomfortable questions. It's just me and Mom now. Was just me and Mom. Marco stepped forward. Boss, we should go. Someone's gonna see. Vincent silenced him with a look. In 15 years of running crews, settling disputes, and managing territory, he'd developed rules that kept him alive and out of prison. Rule number 1 was never get emotional about business. Rule number 2 was never trust anyone completely. Rule number 3 was never, ever get involved with kids. But looking at Sophie Martinez, clutching her $5 like it could buy miracles, Vincent felt something shift inside his chest. Maybe it was remembering his own mother, who'd worked 3 jobs to keep him fed after his father disappeared. Maybe it was thinking about all the times he'd wished someone, anyone, would step up when the world felt too big and too cruel. Sophie, what exactly do you want me to do? He asked. She took a deep breath, like she was about to jump off a cliff. I want you to bring my mom home. I know you're important. I know people are scared of you, but I also know you help people sometimes. Vincent raised an eyebrow. Who told you that? Mrs. Chen from the corner store. She said when those other bad men tried to make her pay extra money, you made them go away. She said you protect people in the neighborhood. Vincent almost smiled despite himself. Mrs. Chen had been paying him protection money for 5 years, but apparently she'd put her own spin on the arrangement. Sophie, this isn't how these things work. You can't just walk up to people like me and ask for help. But I did, she said simply. And you're still here talking to me. That stopped him cold. She was right. Any other night, any other person, Vincent would have been in his car and gone by now. His men were probably wondering if their boss had lost his mind, standing on the sidewalk negotiating with a second grader. The bad men said if I tell the police, they'll hurt Mom worse. Sophie continued. They said if I tell anyone, they'll make sure I never see her again. But they didn't say I couldn't hire someone to help. Vincent stared at this tiny girl who just used the word hire like she was conducting business. You want to hire me? Yes, for $5. It's all I have, but I can get more. I can do chores or sell things or… Sophie. Vincent's voice was gentle but firm. $5 isn't enough for what you're asking. Her face crumpled, and for a moment she looked exactly like what she was, a terrified 7-year-old whose world had been turned upside down. Please, she whispered. She's all I have. If something happens to her, I'll be all alone, and I don't know what to do when I'm alone. I'm alone. Vincent looked at that $5 bill in his hand, then back at Sophie's tear-streaked face. In his line of work, emotions were weaknesses that got you killed or arrested. But standing there, listening to this kid talk about being alone, something inside him cracked. Tell me exactly what happened 3 nights ago, he said quietly. Sophie wiped her eyes and straightened up, like she was trying to be brave. Mom was making dinner. Spaghetti. She always makes spaghetti on Sunday nights because it's cheap and there's enough for leftovers. Someone knocked on the door really hard, like they were going to break it down. Vincent nodded. Go on. Mom looked through the peephole and got scared. Really scared. She told me to hide in the bedroom